So today's lesson is going to be on simple interest. Your title might say simple and compound interest, but we're strictly just going to deal with simple interest today. So some key terms that you're going to need to know is principal, which is the amount of money you originally invest or borrow. Term is the time in years for an investment or a loan. And per annum is per year. Simple interest is meaning it's interest calculated as a percentage of your principal. So it only deals with the amount of money you initially borrow or invest. So a formula to calculating simple interest is I equals PRT, where I is the amount of interest earned or the amount of interest you owe. P is the principal amount you put in or borrow. R is an annual interest rate, and it's expressed as a decimal. So if you're given a percentage, you must divide it by 100 to get a decimal. And T is the term of the investment or loan, and it's always going to be given to you. It's not going to be given to you in years, but you're going to want to convert it to years at all times unless your rate is given to you as a daily interest rate. So in this realm of dealing with interest and things like that, there's some steps that you can follow to make life easier. First thing you're going to want to do is always convert your interest rate to a decimal. You're going to want to calculate the term into years if it's not already in years. And then you're going to want to just sub into your formula, calculate what you need, solve for your missing variable, and then you're going to take what you get as an I value at the end and add it to your principal if that's what it's asking you for. So let's take a look and walk through those steps together. You would like to invest $5,000 in an account that offers simple interest. So you're going to calculate how much the investment would be worth at each of the following rates and terms. So at 3% per annum, so 3% per year over a 2-year term. So I like to write out what my variables are so that I know what I'm looking for, I know what I have, and I can easily sub it in. So I have a P value of $5,000. I have an R value of 3%. So I now need to take that 3% and I need to take 3 divided by 100, and I'm going to turn it to a decimal of 0.03. I am now going to say my T is 2 because it is worth 2 years, and I is what we are looking for, okay? So it wants you to calculate just what the investment will be worth at the end of this. So when we find I, we're going to have to take I and add it to the value of P. So I now can use this formula. I equals PRT, and I'm going to put $5,000 in for P, 0.03 in for R, and 2 in for T. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug that into my calculator. I'm going to type it all in there. When I type that all in there, I'm going to get 300. Now, my interest was $300. So to get what my final value is going to be worth, I'm going to have to take that $300 and I'm going to add $5,000 to it because my original amount was $5,000. So at the end of a 2-year term at 3%, I'm going to have $5,300. Now, if we were to keep everything the same, but we're going to change our rate to 3.75%, which means I now need to change that by dividing it by 100. So I'm going to get 0.0375. And my T is going to turn into a 4-year term. I'm still putting in $5,000. So I can now go I is equal to PRT. And I'm going to get I equals 5,000 times 0.0375 times 4. And when I type that into my calculator, I get $750. So I'm now going to take that $750 and I'm going to add it to the $5,000 I started with. And at the end of 4 years at 3.75%, I'm left with $5,750. That's what my total amount that I would have is if I invested $5,000 at that percent for that long. Now let's take a look at if I changed my R value to 1.75%. I want to turn that to a decimal. I'm going to divide by 100. I'm going to get 0.0175. And I want it over 15 months. So T is equal to 15 months. Now, that does me not a whole lot of good because I need it in years. So to turn this into years, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it and I'm going to divide it by 12 because there are 12 months in a year. So if I take 15 months divided by 12 months, I get 1.25 years. That's something I can use. It's a usable thing. We still have a P of $5,000. Okay, so now I can take all this information, sub it into my formula. I equals PRT. So I've got 5,000 times 1 point, or sorry, we can go 1.25, why not? Times my interest rate of 0.0175. When I type that all together, I wind up getting an interest of $109.38. Now I'm going to have to take that to find what my total value is. I'm going to go 5,000 and I'm going to add 109.38 to it. And I'm going to be left with $5,109.38 at the end of my 15-month term at a rate of 1.75%.